This is PJNET.TV, and this is my perspective and comments. In this video segment of My Perspective and Comments, we cover politics, society here and abroad, and the events of the day that are shaping our nation. PJNET.TV, My Perspective and Comment, coming to you with a worldview, one nation under God. Welcome to My Perspective and Comments. And again, COVID-19 update. And what we're seeing again is that hospitalizations are decreasing nationwide. And we're seeing now more and more states are lifting mandates, and we're seeing finally many more states right now are lifting the mask mandates for our children in school. So we're starting to see the rollback. Also, we're starting to, the truth is starting to come out more and more regarding what we were hearing from CDC, what we've been hearing from Fauci for the last 2 years, and the so-called effectiveness that we were told about these cloth masks. And now the masks, physicians and the medical professions is taking off the masks and coming clean, and we're hearing more and more that the cloth masks weren't that effective, and what we've been doing over the last 2 years, we needed to tell the people. We heard this from Fauci, and now we're starting to hear CDC talking about, well, the masks, we didn't want to have a run on the N95s for our healthcare facilities. We needed to have those masks available for them. So that they said, okay, well, we'll let the people, we'll mandate these cloth masks. And that's what the game that is being played. Not only just the cloth masks, but even the we saw it real time, and we lived through it here the last 2 years. We were told in the lead up of when the vaccines were coming out, oh yeah, this is a 95% effective vaccine for protection, and now you'll be protected, and the people you come in contact with will be protected, and these are great vaccines. Well, now, fast forward to today, and we're seeing in many areas right now zero efficacy of these vaccines. And now we're the so-called scientist, the medical science is now telling us, with this Omicron, these vaccines aren't effective against the Omicron. It wasn't effective against Delta. And we're seeing here now that, if you've been jabbed once, twice, 3 times, you still can catch COVID. So here we go. And what did we hear? Several months ago? We may need to change the definition of a vaccine. And I'll tell you, folks, I'm not changing anything. Well, I know what a vaccine is. A vaccine is you get a shot, you're protected, you protect someone else, and you are protected. And that's not what these vaccines are. And finally, we're hearing more and more here that these aren't effective against Omicron. And again, I want to point out, if you have to get a booster every 6 months because after 6 months the efficacy of these vaccines are taking a nosedive, there's a problem there. And that's not even to talk about what we've been seeing globally. Thousands of adverse reactions, and we're seeing people falling and passing out, and those type things, and getting a healthy younger than 30 dying of a heart attack and strokes. And we're starting to see these numbers, and they are increasing. And there's more and more people that are speaking up now. And there's data right now and whistleblowers that have come forward in the military talking about those very issues, and what some of the doctors, the medical doctors, have been finding of these soldiers, the healthiest of the healthy, and their neurological issues and clotting issues, and a whole series of things that just don't make sense when you look at this population over the decades. So, definitely some concerns here, but the masks are coming off, and now we're starting to what these doctors that have been treating patients and that have been urging and saying we need to have early treatment and not get tested. Oh yeah, I have COVID. Okay, go home, and if you can't breathe, come back in again, and yeah, we got some remdesivir for you and a ventilator. That's been, in fact, there are still hospitals right now that's the protocol. And I'm so thankful that we had these frontline doctors that treat patients, and not just look at a protocol that some administrator has been told, yes, this is the treatment you're going to give anyone that comes into your health system. And you tell the doctors they have to follow this protocol, or they could be their medical license could be in jeopardy. And that's the sledgehammer that's been held over many physicians right now. When you have physicians saying, yeah, I really can't prescribe that because I can get in trouble. That's a problem, and that's where legislation needs to come in effect here. And this never should happen again, where doctors, when you have pharmacists overriding doctors and telling doctors what they can and can't prescribe. That's a problem. And there needs to be legislation that this never happens again. And again, more legislation that says that the tyranny and the liberties that were lost over these last 2 years, that will never happen again. And there needs to be, when it comes to, I think if COVID did anything positive, it showed us, one, the healthcare system. Now, I would say that we saw a lot of crap coming out of the Obamacare and some of the stuff that they crammed into Obamacare, and we're seeing that. And they poo-pooed and laughed at Sarah Palin when she talked about death panels. Well, if you have a patient that needs a kidney and the hospital says, unless you get this jab, you're not getting that kidney, that sure sounds like a death panel to me. Somebody making a decision that they're not going to treat someone that needs a life-saving transplant. That's evil, and that legislation needs to be brought that doesn't happen, and that has to stop. In fact, there are some health systems right now that still is happening. And when you think of all the rollbacks now of the mandates going away, but there's still hospitals out there that are telling patients, unless you get a jab, you're not going to get that life-saving transplant. It's evil. So we have that. And now we are starting to see, as I mentioned, some rollbacks. The airline, and one of the holdouts right now, and this needs to be corrected, and the airlines still requiring masks, and this mandate of our military men and women that are being forced to get this jab, and all that's taking place right now with the legislation for budget bills and such. The Republicans should stand up and stand for their people and say, if what they should be putting in these budget bills is repealing that military mandate and putting the airlines on notice that that's going to end too. And again, we've seen the Republicans in leadership lacking leadership and lacking standing up for their constituents. We are seeing some light at the end of the tunnel for our children. The masks are coming off at our schools. Here in New York, the governor just took the mask mandates off children and is leaving it she's leaving, Governor Hochul is leaving it up to the parents to decide whether their children are going to school wearing a mask or not. So we see that happening in New York, and I'm hearing other states are talking about, well, in the next week or two or at the end of the month, we're lifting the mask mandates for our school children, which is a positive move. Should have happened a long time ago. In fact, they never should have been masked up, but it's happening right now. We've been watching this week, it's been on the news every day, and we're seeing Russia and the thug Putin has invaded Ukraine, and the fierce fighting and ramping up. We're seeing pictures of trucks, 30 miles long, approaching the various cities, and we're starting to see the Poland is getting they're evacuating the Ukrainians to get out of this area. Now, what we've been seeing and hearing is that the husband and wife, and the husband will try and get his family up and out of there, and then he's returning to the battlefield. Zelensky is he's there. And there was a lot of talk that he's going to hightail it, hop on a plane and take his money and go, but no, he's been right there encouraging his people and asking for help. Also, I heard in some reports that there's been some hit squads looking to kill Zelensky, and there was a report that those assassins were eliminated. So, but I'm sure if Putin is pulling strings, he's probably got more that are available to try and find Zelensky. But again, this is disturbing. We're hearing that a cry for a no-fly zone. And folks, financial supplying arms and to let the Ukrainians fight and have resources, that's all well and good. But to put, and again, it always boils down to the U.S. is going to do the heavy lifting. No, I think that what a no-fly zone, that means putting U.S. personnel in a plane to administer that. And where we've already seen Putin talking about nuclear weapons, do we want to see dog fights and planes getting shot down, U.S. against Russia? And again, Europe, Germany, France, they got planes. They are starting to, France, I believe, is sending armament to the Ukrainians, and Germany also is. But that needs to be, especially when you think of Germany and France and Europe, that right now are over a barrel because Putin is supplying them energy. That's where their energy is going to come, and this is the situation that they're in. And again, if we had leadership here in the U.S., what we should have heard in that State of the Union is, we're going to, we hear Biden say, well, preparing the American people to, there's going to be a little bit of pain. How about lessening that pain? And how about opening the XL pipeline? And how about opening all those reserves, or not reserves, but all those areas that we were pulling energy out, where we were fracking? How about going back to what we were doing to be energy independent? But again, we have a weak leader. We have a leader that wants to appease the radical left that are all hepped up on the Green New Deal. That's why, he hasn't opened his mouth about, especially when Russia was ramping up and threatening. That should have been a signal to Putin. We're going to take this serious, and if you continue on this mode, your pipeline is done. It's over, and that's where the majority of the money that is generated for the oil coming out of Russia to fight the Ukraine and threaten his neighbors. So we could take that right off the table, and it should be definite right now that pipeline is done, and we are opening up, and we're going to go 100% to get the energy that we need. One, it'll help Europe, and two, it'll help the American people that are dealing with these high gas prices. And ultimately, that will help this inflation that we're seeing all around us right now. So again, we see here, a hangover from Obama leading from behind. And again, on the foreign stage, we see weakness again. America. Going hat in hand. Not only are we now still buying, right now, this week, money has been going from the U.S. into Russia's pockets because we're getting our oil, some of our oil, from Russia. And Russia is being a mediator so that we can get negotiations with Iran and get some of their energy. Yeah, so here we have this Biden administration, playing games and sending money to Russia and proposing to get an alliance with Iran. Just what we need, working with our enemies and giving money to our enemies only to have them turn that funds around, and Iran sponsoring terrorism all over the world. And Putin with his advances to his neighbors in Ukraine. So that's what we have here taking place. I want to have us talk a bit about, we saw, the COVID tyranny in this country. And we witnessed a couple weeks ago now that the Canadian truckers that brought their protest to Ottawa, to the Canada's capital, and all that took place there. And what I'd like us to do is to, again, that took place in Canada, but now we have U.S. truckers that are making a move and bringing their protest, their trucker protest across the nation to be in the capital here this weekend. And I'd like us to take a look at a few clips here of the support, enthusiasm, and really, this display and protest is about getting rid of all these mandates that have been foisted on the American people. And again, it's a great display. You'll take a look here and see the support that people are sick of what's been going on, and people are getting the words out of what has the scam that's been taking place here from our so-called medical science. And we know most of it has been political the whole time. So again, take a look here at some of our U.S. truckers that are making their way to the nation's capital. Take a look.